Hello and welcome to the news at 4. I am Omotayo. Alo. President Muhammad Buhari on Friday said there was no truth in the local and international media that he accused or indicted the United States government of helping the terrorist group Boko Haram. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the president described the report as widely off-mark. He described the report as an unfortunate misinterpretation and distortion of his remarks at the United States Institute of Peace during his official visit to Washington, D.C. He said he made it clear in those remarks, copies of which were circulated to the media, that he was convinced that the United States could never support groups such as Boko Haram. The presidency has affirmed that President Muhammad Buhari will not extend his corruption probe beyond the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Buhari, who just returned from a 4-day official visit to the United States, has consequently vowed to investigate and bring to book persons who looted the country's funds. The president said on Tuesday in the U.S. that he would arrest and prosecute past ministers and other officials who stole Nigeria's oil and diverted government's money into personal account. But the president's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, said the president will limit his anti-corruption war to the immediate past administration in the country. He said Buhari will not waste time in probing the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Abdulsalam Abubakar, Sani Abacha, and Ibrahim Babangida. Senate President Bukola Saraki insists that the leadership crisis in the Senate would soon be over. He gave this assurance in response to concerns raised by Labour leaders during a courtesy call in Abuja. Senator Saraki maintained his colleagues are prepared to put behind the crisis behind them and concentrate on what Nigerians asked them to do in the National Assembly. The National Economic Council has resolved that state find ways of reducing cost of governance and to support federal government's efforts to boost the economy. This was part of the decisions taken at the second meeting of the committee chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Speaking to State House correspondent after the meeting, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode said the governors would have to devise means of boosting the economy.
We do not have a uniform template on how to reduce the cost of governance, but it's very clear that states in their own specific situations will find different ways and means of ensuring that the cost of running government is not as huge as it has always been. So it's left for the states in their respective situations to find the different ways of cutting costs. And what is important is that we cannot continue with the kind of huge burden or huge cost that we are applying to run our governments. A situation where you are having a huge percentage of your budget as a recurrent expenditure is obviously not acceptable. And you must look for ways in reducing the cost of administration in the various states.
The National Economic Council has resolved that states find ways of reducing cost of governance and to support federal government's effort to boost the economy. This was part of the decisions taken at the second meeting of the committee chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Organized Labour has dismissed the recent wage cut announced by President Muhammad Buhari's deputy Yemi Osinbajo and some state governors as symbolic gestures that do not address the high cost of governance in the country. The leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress also decried the progressive rise in National Assembly budget from 23 billion naira in 2003 to 154 billion naira in 2011 and demanded a review. These are some of the issues NLC President Ayuba Waba raised with Senate President Bukola Saraki when he led a delegation of Labour leaders to the National Assembly complex. Basiaye reports that the organized Labour also made a case for stronger anti-corruption laws.
The visit is the first interface between organized Labour and the Senate leadership at a time the 8th Senate is still trying to get on its feet after a shaky start. It was one that provided an opportunity for the NLC to table a number of issues it says have been giving Nigerian workers and the masses cause for concern. And the labor leaders did not waste time in speaking out on corruption and the high cost of governance, among others. On corruption, NLC is of the view that the nation's anti-graft laws need to be strengthened to ensure speedy prosecution of high-profile corruption cases.
NLC believes that the National Assembly has a key role to play in ensuring that justice is not only done, but truly seen to be done. One of the most credible ways of doing this, as I said earlier, is by strengthening the anti-corruption existing laws so that people who steal our collective wealth can be brought to justice far much quicker than we presently have. Corruption will reduce once people know that there is no hiding place for those who perpetrate it, and that corrupt enhancement will not necessarily be able to buy themselves freedom from the long arm of the law.
NLC dismissed the recent 50% cut in the salaries of the president, his deputy, and some governors as a gimmick, and also demanded a downward review of the National Assembly budget.
Some governors have reduced their salaries by 50%. And the president were also informed, and the vice president recently, jointly by ordering that their salaries should also be reduced by 50%. The National Assembly has also acted by reducing its annual budget from 150 billion to about 115 billion as a symbolic gesture that our legislators are in tune with the realities of the time. Your Excellency, Nigerians generally do not believe that those gestures from the two arms of government are far-reaching enough to address the question of high cost of governance in the land.
The NLC president demanded more openness in the budget processes of the legislature, while drawing attention to the progressive rise in the spending plan of the lawmakers from 23 billion to 150 billion naira in about 10 years. In his response, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, put forward the desire of the 8th National Assembly to establish and maintain a link with Nigerians. He also urged organized labor to contribute to the anti-graft crusade by encouraging the average Nigerian worker to speak up on corruption cases where they work.
It is time for all of us, both those of us in the National Assembly, the executive, and the workers as well, that we must show serious commitment. It's not superficial or headline approach, because at the end of the day, I mean, to our workers, when you talk about oil theft, we have workers at the terminals. We have Nigerian workers who are at the terminals, who surely must know when this thing is going on. I think what we have now, we have a great opportunity that we have leadership right at the top, led by the President, that we believe has a political way to do it right. So the excuse before, where people say, well, even if I bring it up, the system is corrupt right from the top, nothing will happen. I think that excuse has gone now. We are showing you that at the executive side, we have elected President to do it. I'm making the commitment on behalf of the National Assembly, led by myself, that we are committed to do that.
At the end of the visit, organized labor and federal lawmakers agree on the need for proper engagement and dialogue across all segments of society to get the country on the right track. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party have expressed concerns about the rise in insurgent attacks in the northeast region. Rising from a meeting on Wednesday night, the governors urged the military to go the extra mile to stem the tide of attacks on soft targets. The renewed attacks was one of the items on the agenda at the meeting of the PDP Governors Forum in Abuja.
We're actually enjoying all the armed forces to step up their security measures and actually see how they can actually stem the tide of this menace in the entire country, especially that northeast. It's really a thing. And all the other states. It's really a thing of concern to PDP governors that, in spite of all the efforts of the armed forces, these guys are still proving to be a little bit more formidable. So we are sure if the emphasis step up a little bit more, we should be able to curtail. It's really a thing of really sadness to us. We have a brother here who is also the governor of Gombe State. While he was at the meeting, he received another report of another attack. These are things that we believe we all rise up as a country. We should be able to curtail it.
The Nigerian authorities have flagged off the intercity train service from Kano to Port Harcourt. The managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Adesheyi Shijuwade, said in his welcome address that the train it would provide a long way in boosting business activities between the north and south of the country. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje was represented on the occasion by Speaker of the House of Assembly, Al-Zain Dagua.
That is, women wrapper, perfumes, cosmetics and jewelry movement from Sabongari Market in Kano, crisscrossing Benue markets to the far eastern markets in Enugu, Abia and River states, paralyzed due to lack of rail transport between the northwestern axis and the eastern part of the country. However, in view of the ongoing reforms efforts by the Nigerian Railway Corporation, train services are now being resuscitated in phases across the country. This newly introduced train service comprises two 68-seater air-conditioned modern first-class passenger coaches, which will be conveying our dignitaries today, a restaurant coach for comfort on board, and several standard class coaches. It traverses a rail distance of 1,139 kilometers stretching from Kano to Port Harcourt, with stops at Madobi, Dangora, Kura, Zaria, Kaduna Junction, Zongwa, Kafanchan, Wasai, Lafia, Ayarugu, Makurdi, Otoko, Ihamufu, Enugu, Ovim, Amaba, Umuahia, and Aba stations. To benefit from the reforms efforted by the NRC, we record that the Lagos to Kano Intercity Passenger Service was launched here in Kano City in 2012, several years after traffic had been suspended on this route. Despite recent security challenges, Kano still remains the commercial nerve center of northern Nigeria, attracting trade and economic integration with the other parts of the country and neighboring countries. It is a state with a high population and excellent demographic attributes and the other potentials. The relevance and the presence of functional railway to serve the needs of the people of Kano State and those coming to do business here in Kano can therefore not be overemphasized, as the rail is not only affordable but has the hard capacity to not only move people en masse, but by its nature, the rail mode passes through the rural areas where most of our people reside. The government of Kano State is committed to the safety and comfort of our people, and it is within this purview that Kano State will be willing to partner with NRC because we are interested in helping our people move their farm produce to the market.
We take a break now, and when we come back, we'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly. Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man, we don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
If you're just joining us, it's CoreTV News at 4. For more news and information, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News. And follow us and also tweet at us at our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You could get more information on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space and news. Scores of students carrying placard on Friday morning stormed the Federal High Court in Lagos in continuation of their protest against the alleged plan by the Registrar of the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, Dibu Ojeride, to stop them from writing entrance examination into the University of Lagos for this year's admission. The students who came to court in 2 BRT vehicles were led by one of the lawyers, Alex Ogedengbe, as one of the time of filing this report at 11:30 a.m. Counsel for the student had gone to the court registry to file a suit. As the leadership crisis rocking Yaba College of Technology lingers, the National Association of Nigerian Students has thrown weight behind the management of the institution led by Margaret Ladipo. Abiola Oluwole was at the media briefing addressed by the External Affairs of the Association. Ogunkwade Oluwatosin. His report.
The Yaba College of Technology has been in the media recently over accusation and counter-accusation on the management of the school resources. While some parties in the school are calling for the removal of the school rector, Margaret Ladipo, over an alleged financial impropriety, others are saying that the embattled rector should be commended for a landmark achievement in office. This media briefing, addressed by the Vice President of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Ogunkwade Oluwatosin, is to applaud the rector.
Our diligent attention was drawn to the rate of infrastructural and academic growth and development of Yaba College of Technology under the leadership of Dr. Mrs. Margaret Kudirat Ladipo, which would serve as school of thought for other institutions. All of the greatest Nigerian students. Yes. Now spark votes of confidence in the leadership of Yaba College of Technology.
Ogunkwade says the student union is ready to confront any persons or group willing to truncate the consistent progress of the institution.
As an apostle of justice in the temple of peace and orderliness, Nigerian students hereby signed a note of warning to some bodgers and charlatans in the institution and beyond who have chosen to intimidate the progress of Yaba College of Technology by conspiracy and petition blackmailing against the rector of the institution.
Efforts to seek the reactions of the group calling for the removal of the rector over non-performance proved abortive, as people with vested interest battle for the soul of Yaba College of Technology. All the students are seeking is peaceful resolution of the crisis in a way that will not have negative effects on the stable academic activities enjoyed by the school. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has accused the former staff behind recent corruption allegations against the Director General of blackmail. It described the alleged whistleblower as a former Director of Finance and Accounts who had been under investigation for sundry offences. NAFDAC Director of Special Duties Abubakar Jimoh told CoreTV News that the agency is also looking at the possibility of a connivance with a drug counterfeiting cartel. The Nigerian Army has paraded one Samuel Omo, who specializes in defrauding unsuspecting members of the public with fake recruitment information into the Army and Custom. The suspect was arrested in Edo State by military police personnel. Army spokesman Colonel Sani Usman disclosed that before Omar's arrest, he had made over 30,000 naira by selling fake funds.
Investigation that was carried out by the military police revealed the following facts about him. Samuel Omo Eromosale, on 9th May 2015, posted an advertisement in the comment section of the website known as www.nigeriabestforum.com. And in that website, he posted an advert entitled Nigerian Army Direct Short Service Commission 2015/2016 online application form. And shortly before his arrest, on the date I mentioned earlier, Eromosele yet again, posing as Precious Ehi, posted an advertisement on a website known as www.gg.com, and the advert was entitled Nigeria Customs Service, NCS for short, 2015/2016 batch online application.
This particular crime is really getting endemic. It starts from innocent impersonation. It gets to obtaining money under false pretense. Of course, there's an element of economic sabotage in it. And of course, they are perpetrating it through the instrumentalities of internet. So it constitutes cybercrime. But when the subjects or the accessories of this crime are high-profile personalities, security managers of the country, it calls for serious concern and the interest of all Nigerians.
The Nigerian Army says the change in the operational name of the war against insurgency from Operation Zaman Lafia to Lafia Dole is a strategy for total warfare against the terrorists, their sympathizers and sponsors. Army spokesman Colonel Sani Usman revealed that the military is more committed and determined to ending the Boko Haram menace now that the command and control center is now fully operational in Maiduguri. He also wants members of the public to continue to provide useful information to the military on the insurgents and their activities. The Arepo area of the Obafemi Owode local government in Ogun State is once again come under the spotlight for the wrong reasons. The area is well known by many for oil pipeline vandalism and bunkering, with the latest episode being the early Tuesday morning explosion with varying degrees of casualty given by most sources who spoke on the explosion. CoreTV news crew visited the area and brought back this report.
A first-time visitor to Arepo on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in Obafemi Owode local government area of Ogun State, we see a sleepy, quiet and peaceful community. On turning into the dusty road leading into this community, a different scene emerges to confront the discerning observer with fear palpable among residents. For the chiefs and residents of the area who declined to speak on camera, the pipeline vandalism and oil bunkering going on is not in Arepo but a neighboring community called Elepete in Ikorodu local government area of Lagos State. They say Arepo has assumed a larger-than-life image in pipeline vandalism and oil bunkering due to it being the main access point to the island of Elepete from Lagos.
I do hear something about that, but I'm not conversant to such thing. I just sometimes I see through the newspaper and the rest of them, but apart from that, I haven't encountered it.
What did you hear this time? Like yesterday, what did you hear?
No, yesterday I haven't heard anything. As a matter of fact, I don't even live around this environs. So I just came to see one of my friends here, and he didn't tell me anything.
But journalists are here now, and their life is also in danger. It's always in danger. If you're chairman, they even there now for Malawi people passing. Some people.
talking, you can take them and put them to also be residents as well. That if the wars comes to war.
For the police, with a major logistic issue on their hands, it's an impossible job, but a visit to the scene of the inferno reveals that despite the alleged huge casualty figure, the vandals are still very much in business and are even operating in the area unchallenged and obviously well armed. Unconfirmed reports has it that a photojournalist who visited the area earlier was abducted by the vandals while visiting the family of a deceased resident who died from shock. While this area has been home to the reign of terror by vandals for some years now, one only hopes that something will be done to address this issue before it becomes another bull in the China shop like the Boko Haram insurgents.
The battle of supremacy between the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria and the National Association of Patent Medicine Dealers is taking a new turn for the West in Ekiti State. The drug dealers in Ekiti State are protesting against the closure of shops by the task force of the Pharmacists Council over non-payment of license fees and other issues. For the local vendors, the Pharmacists Council has overstepped its boundaries as the two councils are locked in court battle, which precludes the Pharmacists Council from closing any shop. Rashid has more from Ado-Ekiti.
The long-drawn battle between the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria and the National Association of Patent and Proprietary Medicine Dealers, NAPMED, is getting to the head in Ekiti State. The representative of the Pharmacists Council in Ekiti State have started a clampdown on drug vendors over the past week, precipitating protests across major streets of Ado-Ekiti.
Our registration fee before was 2,500, but now it's now 10,500 naira. Registration fee, if I need new intake, is like they collect 7,500 before, but it's now 16,500 naira. We send letter to the so-called Pharmacy Council of Nigeria to stop harassing us before taking this step. And more so, this issue has emanated since 2007 or so. We have impending court case in Federal High Court, Abuja, and whereby everything has to be normal because the case is still in court. They said the case is in court. If case is in court, all status quo has to be maintained, and yet they still come out to harass us. My own shop has been under lock and key since on Monday.
The protest, which brought activities to a standstill in Ado-Ekiti, took the protesters to the State House of Assembly and Ministry of Health. Officials of the state government, however, promised to intervene in the dispute since it's not a state government task force.
We will instruct the relevant authorities, the law enforcement agencies, to put a stop to all acts of intimidation and harassment of NAPMED members.
We are seriously going to look into it. On behalf of His Excellency and the Ministry of Health.
With NAPMED calling for the intervention of stakeholders to prevent what they describe as a shutdown of all drugs dispensing outlets in the state.
Make sure that all those shops are open so that there will be absolute peace. Without opening that shops, we don't want crisis.
Efforts to reach the representative of the Pharmacist Society proved abortive as the task force is said to have moved to another town for a continuation of its operations. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
The strike embarked upon by workers of the Federal Medical Center, Owerri, Imo State Capital, has continued to linger with the concerned parties not shifting ground. Our correspondent, Ajibadi Awofeso, visited the medical center and filed this report.
A visit to the premises of the Federal Medical Center, Owerri, shows that the protesting staff are not planning to sheath their swords soon. The consequence, however, is the unfortunate death of poor citizens who cannot afford private medical care. The workers have resolved to show their grievances this way. Intended Public-Private Partnership, PPP, by the management was what gave rise to the strike. The staff claimed its implementation will make things difficult for the people of the state, as most people will lose their jobs. But the management thinks otherwise. Although the PPP was relaxed by the management, the staff are on strike asking for the dismissal of Angela Onwankwem, the managing director. She's alleged to have mismanaged the promotion arrears, a claim the management has denied. The Minister of Health had in May called on the workers to resume work, while Governor Rochas Okorocha, on request of the president, had visited the hospital. Both efforts, however, proved abortive. Some of the union leaders claimed the grievances with the managing director, Angela Unwakwem, had strengthened the strike action.
I've told you initially that we didn't say this person should go. What we are talking about is investigations. And if you are investigating somebody, the person has to step aside because he can't be a judge. Okay, so that is what we are saying. Investigating her, if she's on the seat, you can't investigate. You won't get anything. And if this government is not ready to fight corruption, that means they are not complying with what they told us during their campaign.
It's hoped that the warring factions will sheath their swords in no time, at least for the sake of helpless citizens in dear need of medical help.
We take this quick break and we'll be back with foreign, business and entertainment stories. Stay tuned.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And from outside Nigeria, Kenya has tightened security in the capital Nairobi ahead of U.S. President Barack Obama's visit and will attend the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Nairobi. Security forces are patrolling the capital. Some U.S. military aircraft were seen flying around the city. Authorities plan to temporarily close major roads as well as airport to coincide with Obama's arrival and departure. In recent years, Kenya has been in the scene of several terror attacks. The radical Islamic group Al-Shabaab has claimed the attacks as retribution for Kenya's involvement in anti-terrorist efforts in neighboring countries. But lately, American flags line Nairobi streets in anticipation of visit by President Obama, who arrives late Friday. Turkey's government is vowed to continue targeting Islamic State militants after launching airstrikes against the oppositions in Syria. The Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu said the airstrikes, which is the first by Turkey on Islamic State, has completely destroyed their targets. Meanwhile, Turkish forces and Islamic State fighters traded fire on Thursday near the Syrian border, leaving one Turkish soldier dead. However, it was reported that the Turkish police has launched raids against Islamic State and Kurdish militants, arresting 297 people. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said the operations against militants would continue. Just days before the United States is to release its annual global report on human trafficking, Thai authorities announced 72 trafficking suspects already in custody and to be indicated on related charges, while warrants have been issued for the arrest of 45 additional people. No bail will be granted to any of those indicated, according to authorities, as among those being held in army, General Manas Kompane. Thailand's sweeping crackdown in May has also netted 14 other officials, including 4 police officers, in what the Deputy National Police, Aek Angastan, characterized as Thailand's biggest investigation into human trafficking. Thailand's movement against the smuggling networks came after more than 2,000 bodies were discovered in jungle graves near sites of suspected people smuggling camps along the Thai-Malaysian border. And now to business. Following the declaration of force majeure by Integrated Energy Distribution and Marketing Company, the core investor in the Yola Electricity Distribution Company, the federal government is taking over the beleaguered power firm. It has also appointed Baba Mustafa as engineer to lead the company in the capacity of an acting managing director. Before his new appointment, Mustafa was a deputy director in the Ministry of Power. The Yola Electricity Distribution Company covers Adamawa, Borno, Taraba and Yobe State, except for Taraba State. The other three have been mostly affected by the activities of Boko Haram and the subsequent war against it. However, Yola Disco is one of the 11 electricity distribution companies that were sold to private sector operators in a gale of reforms of the nation's power industry that led to the unbundling of the defunct monopoly, the Power Holding Company, in Nigeria. And to sport, Nigerian international Mikel Obi admits is enjoying his time with the Blues, but refused to rule out a move before the end of his career and has moved to end speculation over his Chelsea future by insisting he is happy at Stamford Bridge. The 28-year-old was linked with the likes of Al-Ain and Fenerbahce during the transfer window, but remained with the Blues despite the interest. He said he considered leaving Chelsea, but has a change of mind since the manager Jose Mourinho wants him to stay. This would be Mikel's 10th year at the club, and the Nigerian international, who has a very good relationship with the coach Jose Mourinho, says he likes where he is part of the big family since John Obi Mikel moved from Lynn O'Sell in 2006. The Super Eagles star has won 10 major titles with the Stamford Bridge Giants. Man City were comprehensively beaten 4-1 by Real Madrid in an entertaining International Champions Cup encounter in Melbourne as some superb, attractive attacking play gave Madrid a 2-goal lead within the space of 4 minutes midway through the first half as Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo struck past Joe Hart in front of a record crowd of 99,382, the largest attendance for a football match at the MCG. Pepe then added home unmarked from a corner late in the first half before Yaya Toure got one back from Manu Pellegrini's men with a penalty in stoppage time just before the break, and City could not push further against Madrid. However, with Dennis Chelve burying a goal for the Panards, where many met East Coast cross in the 73rd minute, Fabian Delphi, who signed from Aston Villa for $8 million earlier in July, made a City debut but lasted just 18 minutes before being stretched off, appearing to have been injured his left thigh as he tackled Luka Modric from behind. Paris Saint-Germain striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic has admitted that he would like to play in the MLS in the future, and the Sweden international has been heavily linked with the move away from the park. Thus springs this summer, with AC Milan keen to lure him back to San Siro. However, he is stressed that a return to Italy is by no means a guarantee, as he aims to ply his trade in the United States at some point. To Zlatan, who was in the US 10 years ago, says soccer was not on the level that it is today, but it's growing, and says it's growing in the right direction, and says it wants to be on the level of Europe. The striker has a contract with PSG until June 2016. And to entertainment, new previews for the second season of Gotham have been made available online by Fox's first debut during the Comic-Con area this month. The two trailers tease the rise of the villains and give a new look at the Batcave. In the first trailer, titled Hungry, viewers get to see some new baddies like Tabitha Galavan, aka Tigress, played by Jessica Lucas from Grace Point, and the big brother Theo, played by James Frayne from True Blood. Penguin, Robin Lord Taylor, Edward Nejma, aka the Riddler, Core Michael Smith, and Jerome, aka the Joker, Cameron Monaghan, can also be seen in the 30-second clip. Gotham returns on September 21. Benjamin McKenzie, Morena Bakarin, Dona Lugi, Sharon Pertzvi, Cameron Bikoldova, David Mazoz and Aaron Richards are back from the new season. The official trailer for the highly anticipated adventure movie, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 has arrived, and the trailer mostly features Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen leading her team in the war. The final chapter of the Hunger Games movie series centers on Katniss and a team on a mission to take down the Capitol. At the beginning of the trailer, Donald Sutherland's President Snow warns Katniss. Katniss leads the revolution with the unit from District 13 as they risk their lives to liberate the citizens of Panem. Directed by Francis Lawrence, who also helmed The Hunger Games Catching Fire and The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, this final Hunger Games film is due to arrive stateside on November 20 this year. Disney Pixar brings back the prehistoric era in The Good Dinosaur, which is now previewed in a trailer and featuring the taglines which read, "A single moment can change history, as a single kindness can change everything." The video is sure to melt everyone's heart with the likely friendship between a sweet dinosaur and the young boy. From the creators of Finding Nemo and Inside Out 2015, the upcoming animated movie imagines what would happen if the catalysm asteroid that forever changed life on Earth actually missed the planet completely and giant dinosaurs never became extinct. The film centers on Arlo, a lively 70-foot-tall teenage Apatosaurus with a big heart. After a traumatic event rattles Arlo's tranquil community, he sets out on a quest to restore peace, gaining an unlikely companion along the way, a young human boy named Sport. Featuring Raymond Ocha, Anna Paquin, Jack Bright, Frances McMorland, Jeffrey Ruth, A.J. Buckley, Sam Elliott and Marcus Scribner in the voice cast. The Good Dinosaur is set to invade theaters across the nation this Thanksgiving, on November 25 to be exact. It's a wrap on CoreTV News at 4. Thank you so very much for watching. I remain Omotayo. Alo.